What up, founding fam? Glasses aren't going to work today. What up, founding fam? Today we are going to be talking about how the emotional system in your brain works. Emotional system, brain, body, all of it. How it all works, okay? So, let me just give you a Cliff Notes version right now so you have the image to work with. So whenever you feel an emotion, it's going to be based off of one of your senses, whether something you're hearing, speaking, smelling, touching, tasting. That's what elicits emotion, right? Okay, so say I touched something and it elicited an emotion out of me. So I touched something. Electrical signals then run through from my fingertips, right? Through up to my brain. They enter my brain at the brain stem back here. And to get to where they're supposed to, up in your rational brain, up here, so that you can assess what you're feeling and why you're feeling, it has to go through your limbic system. Now, your limbic system is where emotions are created. So that signal that the senses, that my sense of touch sent through my body to be processed through my brain, hits the emotional home of my brain before it hits the rational part. So the limbic system, I can't even tell you where it is in the brain right now. It's a great googly moogly word. But it's closer than your rational brain, which I know is up here in your frontal lobe. So, think up here behind your forehead. Limbic system somewhere back here. But that sense, those signals run through the emotional part of your brain before it gets to the rational part of your brain. So what does this mean? You cannot stop your emotions from happening. You can't, because it hits the emotional piece of your brain, part of your brain, processing piece of your brain before it gets to the rational piece. So, hello. I once believed that you can negate and remove emotion from your being. That was me. I hated emotion. I didn't want to feel emotions. Good or bad. I was comfortable living in a state of blah. Just like doing me. And looking back now, that seems so stupid. But my EQ was uber low these days. And as we'll talk about in another training, my personality played a little or a big part of that decision that I made. My environment actually influenced those decisions as well. We'll talk about that. But it is impossible for you to not feel emotions. So this is good news for a lot of people who have emotions that they have a hard time controlling. This is great for you because, listen, don't beat yourself up. It is okay to feel emotions. It's not always okay to sit with your emotions. It's best if you assess, harness, manage, and work through your emotions. That's kind of the process that we're taking here. So what this does for you, it allows you to be more comfortable in processing how you're feeling. Because, let's think about it. Say you have kind of a weird emotion, like you're happy for no reason. Okay, well, why? Try and break it down. You're feeling an emotion of happiness, right? And a lot of times, since that's a positive emotion, we'll sit in that like, oh, I'm happy. I don't know why. I don't want to know why. I'm not going to assess it. I'm not going to analyze nothing. I'm just going to sit in the happiness until I don't feel happy anymore. Okay, great. I'm not one to sit by with idle hands, right? You know what they say about idle hands and all that. So that doesn't necessarily compute for me. But this is something a lot of people do. They want to sit in those positive and those good emotions. Heck, some people want to sit in their negative emotions. Now, you may listen to that and you be thinking, oh, why would anyone ever want to sit in a negative emotion? That's such a stupid thing for you to say. Like, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, if someone knows they can get out of a negative emotion, why wouldn't they? Have you ever sat in a negative emotion to punish yourself? Oh, Lauren, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Did you ever do something bad and you had a negative emotion about it and you sat in that emotion as punishment? Now I'm piquing your interest a little bit, huh? Your feelers are going out. Those spidey senses are starting to tingle, aren't they? Listen, this happens all the time. And people want to say that they'll only sit with their positive emotions, like your happiness, your excitement, you know, all those fun things. And they'll say, ooh, I would never sit in a negative emotion, blah, blah, blah. But guess what? We know uber negative people. Anyone watching this, you're probably thinking about that person right now. They're just negative. Anything they say is negative. Anything you say to them, taken negatively, out of context, whatever. It's literally like they were programmed and created to be negative and to sit in a state of negativity all the time. And you're just like, dear God, you just want to shake it out of them. But you can't, because guess what? They are sitting in their limbic system right now. They've conditioned themselves to sit in that limbic system and not get to the rational part of their brain. So people, please, if you are sitting in any type of emotion right now, I really would like you to just start assessing the emotion. Positive, negative, indifferent, neutral, whatever. Just start that assessment. Start that audit. You know, figure it out. I like to think of it almost as a puzzle, right? And all the pieces are flipped to the cardboard side. How hard is it going to be to put that puzzle together if you don't flip the pieces over to see the picture, to see the color, to see how these things work and flow together, how that you can separate them and decide what's positive, what's negative, what direction you need to go, what's going to be hard, what should you work on first, what should you work on second, third, fourth, fifth. It's the same thing when it comes to your emotions. Think about managing and assessing your emotions like you would a puzzle. Do you pick out all the corner pieces first? Do you find all the ends and work on the end? Do you separate them into colors to work on a specific piece or side or person or, you know, whatever? Do that with your emotions. Please, people, do this with your emotions. Figure it out. Why are you feeling this way? What's the root cause? What was that trigger? What sense, what word, what sentence, what feeling, what taste, what smell triggered, elicited those emotions from you? And why? Why did it elicit those emotions? Was it something you remembered from your past? Is this actually another trigger that you've just never picked up on? You know, what is it? You have to find out the why before you can work through the emotion. This is the point here. You know, there's travel. There's a starting point and there's an end destination. And a lot of people get caught up in that limbic system before they can reach their end destination, which is the rational piece of your brain. So just think about a train, right? Use it as a train. Figure out the why, the how. Sit in those emotions for a couple moments, before you start working through and analyzing. I'm telling you, this doesn't sound fun. And I promise you, a lot of it is not going to be fun. It's not. Is growing ever fun? A lot of times it's hard work. It's a lot of uncomfortable situations and circumstances. It's a lot of sacrifice. But what's the payout? What's the payout? What is your situation or your circumstance that elicits a negative emotion out of you? That elicits something like guilt or shame? Do you want to sit in that? No. No. Do any of us? None of us want to sit in that. But if you can take a couple moments of courage, if you can be brave for a few moments and sit with those emotions, figure out who they are, why they're happening, what you're actually feeling, what triggered them, what was your tripwire. If you can train yourself for those few moments of courage, for those few moments of bravery, you will save yourself, save your body, physically, mentally, and emotionally for the rest of your life. The rest of your life. My purpose of this, of starting these training videos, of starting this online teaching in this forum, is so that you don't have to feel the way that I felt for so long. And it was a way that I felt that was internal, and it was negative, and I didn't share it with anyone, and I didn't tell anyone, and I lived with it, and I lived in it, and I sat in it, stewed in it for years. I still hate thinking about that time now. With as much positive that came from that situation, that time in my life, that circumstance, I was able to get out of it, get out of those feelings by doing these things. And if I would have only had them sooner, right? Don't we all think that about everything? Oh my gosh, if I only had this sooner, if I only had this before, I wouldn't have to feel that way for forever. This is why I'm doing this. So I'm going to challenge you to do some hard things this week. I'm going to challenge you to sit in those emotions, to feel those emotions, positive or negative, and analyze them. Take stock. Do that self-audit. Go from head to toe or toe to head. What are you feeling? Where are you feeling it? Why are you feeling it? Get it through to that rational piece, that logical part of your brain where that you can then break it down like that puzzle. You can start flipping over those pieces and you can start, ciphering them off. Here are my corners. Here are my ends. Here are those colors. Here's that person. What is positive? What am I going to get the most out of right now? What's going to take a little extra work? It doesn't happen overnight. And it shouldn't happen overnight. Nothing of value, nothing of purpose and impact does. But come on, let's go. I'm so excited. I know I was a little bit of a downer towards the end. But I just want you to know that I've been where you are. Even if it's not the same feeling, the same emotion, or the same circumstance, I was stuck. I was there. Sometimes I still, I'll revert to that little dark corner, but I get myself out of it faster and faster every time. Because guess what? I know what to do. I've done it already, so I know I can again. And I'm here to tell you that you can get out of that too. You don't have to sit with those emotions. You don't have to sit with these feelings. You don't have to be worried when the next time you're going to be triggered for that shame or that guilt feeling. The next time you see that person that makes you feel terrible. The next time you're in a situation or a circumstance where you feel like you have to shut your emotions off for fear of what would happen. You don't have to do it. You don't have to live your life that way. Work on these. Work on these pieces. Figure out how your brain, how your body, how your emotions work. Figure out why they work. Because once you know that, then you just take the same path. You ride the same river everyone else does, right? So, if you have any questions, let me know. DM me, message me, subscribe, all the good social media stuff I'm supposed to tell you to do. Let's get it. And until next time, keep being that boss babe, founding female that I know you were purposed and created to be. Let's go.